Okay, babies. Someone also asked me about a week or so ago. I'm trying to remember everything that's been requested. So if you requested something and I've not made a video in regards to it, go ahead and send me a DM and I'll jump on that for you. She asked me, how can she decipher her discernment? Who's good for her on people and situations, spiritually. So how you can discern spiritually is you have to take away your spiritual ego. So what I mean by that is when you get a download, normally you get downloads or your spirit guides or your ancestors will talk to you through your gut. It's like a gut feeling. That is a real thing. I had someone ask me that a couple months ago. If a gut feeling was a real thing, it's a real thing. Your intuition comes through your gut. Not your mind, not your heart. They both lie to you. I said that in the prior video. Go find the video and watch it. But your gut instinct is your spirit guides and your ancestors talking to you. Your spirit guides and ancestors also will not verbally sit here and talk to you how I'm sitting here talking to you. They will do it telepathically. So you'll get messages and you can feel it in your gut. Your gut instinct is almost like butterflies or when it comes to a certain situation. So this is how you learn to discern and get rid of the ego. Your spiritual ego is a message comes in, says a situation that you want really, really bad, or say like you're dating someone and you keep getting the feeling that you shouldn't be dealing with that person or something is wrong. But because you've experienced bad situations prior, you chop it up. Instead of listening to the message, you just automatically chop it up to, oh, well, I'm just in my head. And then later on, it comes out that the person really was a real piece of shit. Well, what you did was you questioned your intuition. You used ego over actually listening. So if you ask spirit, because if you're in a situation where you are unsure or unclear about a situation, you ask your ancestors or spirit guides, you call on them, call on your ancestors and spirit guides that mean you well, and then ask them to give you wisdom and discernment in whatever the situation is. So if it's, oh, I'm dating this guy, ask them to give you wisdom and discernment. Oh, I've been dating Kevin. Give me wisdom and discernment on if I need to deal with this person or not. Show me signs, clear, concise signs on if this person is really actually for me. Shortly after, you will get that sign. And when you get it, because you asked, you need to listen to it. So you need to remove the ego and say, oh, well, it's me talking to myself. Don't do that. Don't ever question your intuition. When you get that sign and it tells you no, no is no. You listen to your ancestors. You don't do what you want to do. You do what your ancestors tell you to do. It's almost like when people come to me to read their energy. The reason that they're coming to me for me to read them is so that they can have clarity in a situation, because maybe they're unable to tap into their own intuition, or it's not that they're unable to, they're not listening, or they don't know the proper way to ask for the signs. Yeah, I'm trying to control my accent. They don't know the proper way to ask for the signs. So they come to me so that they can gain clarity. Well, they come to me and I give them concise messages. And when I read people's energy, I read your energy prior to ever speaking to you, ever having any contact. I don't know what you look like. I don't know what you got going on. So if you come to me and I give you a message that directly correlates to what it is that you're going through, then clearly it has to be, and it's accurate, then clearly it has to be the truth. And a lot of people will get that information and still do what they want to do. They still do what they want to do. It weakens your intuition. It clouds the area where you're listening to your ancestors. So when you're trying to do spiritual work, or you're trying to have a spiritual walk with your ancestors, you need to listen. When you at first ask for clarity, and they will give it to you shortly after. I promise they will. And whatever comes shortly after, if it's something, a situation that happens, or if they communicate telepathically with you and you get something and you just know, it's a strong feeling of knowing something is wrong and you still go against it, you are weakening your connection with your ancestors. Don't do that. So ask the question, clear and concise, what it is that you want to know, and then you wait and listen, or you watch to see what happens. And then there you go. As you listen to your ancestors and take away the spiritual ego by going to opinion was before it cut me off. You will have a stronger connection and you'll be able to discern better. It will get stronger and stronger and stronger. And then after a while, you'll realize that your intuition was accurate. So then you'll start realizing that it's accurate and you'll trust it more. But you first have to take away the spiritual ego where you question everything, the messages that are being brought to you, because you're not crazy. I mean, you could be, but but you're not crazy. What you thought it was is usually what it is. Your first instinct in the, well, I don't want to say instinct because instinct comes from prior situations. You going through certain things and you just develop an instinct on how to react when something happens. Your intuition is what I want to say, is your gut feeling, your first intuition, the first sign or feeling that you normally get is normal. You need to go with that. But if you are a person that struggles with mental health, before you start any spiritual walk, you need to get your mental health together. Because if not, have you all ever seen certain people that are supposed to be spiritual and they just seem really, really weird? Like, they've gone too far deep into the spiritual realm that they've forgotten that they're having a human experience. So they like weird, they say and do weird shit, they react weird, they just weird as hell. It is normally because that person was already had mental health issues before they started their spiritual walk. And before they cleared up those mental health issues, they just dove into the spiritual walk, which invites like spirits. So whatever mental health issue you have, you're going to attract spirits like that. And they are going to attach to you. And then it's going to drive you crazy. That is really a real thing. So that's why they seem, my nose is itching. That's why they seem weird and crazy. Because they are. The spirits like them, attached to them, and they weren't mentally strong. In spiritual work, you have to be mentally strong because it's a lot that comes with it, especially if you're practicing some type of ATR like Ifa or hoodoo, voodoo, Haitian voodoo, any of that stuff. Anything where you're working with spirits through spirituality, you have to be mentally strong. Because if not, that shit is going to take you down. You're not going to develop the mental fortitude that you need. You have to already have it, sweetheart, when you start your spiritual journey. So if you know that you struggle with mental health, you need to start working on healing those issues. Because if you dive deep into that spiritual realm, those like spirits are going to connect to you and it's going to literally drive your ass crazy. And that's not what you want to do. You want to still have a human experience, but also be a spiritual being. So you have to master both. You have to master what's on earth and then work on what's in the spiritual realm. But make sure mentally you can handle it, because when you're working with spirits, that shit can get out of control. And that's why a lot of people fear it, because it's the unknown. But if you know how to protect yourself and you know what to do prior to getting into it, then you can live a very happy life spiritually. You can glow. You can be like me, 40 years old, and not look like it, because when you start working on those ancestors, they will preserve your looks. they will preserve, because they want to be venerated and they want to live on, so they want their spirits to live longer. So they will preserve you so that you live longer. So yeah, like, get your mental health together first. And then when you start working, ask. When you start and to strengthen your intuition, ask for the wisdom and knowledge on how to. You ask your ancestors that. You thank them for working with you and through you, and you ask them clear and concise questions. Ask them for the wisdom and knowledge. Ask them to strengthen your intuition, and they will. But you have to listen. You have to take the ego and not go against what you've been told, because a lot of people will do that. A lot of people come to me. They get their energy read, and I can sense on the call, baby, if they're going to listen to what I told them. You can't outsmart me. You can play crazy with somebody else, but I already know, because I'm picking up on your energy while I'm speaking with you. I already know you're not going to listen. So I just be like, listen, I know you're not going to listen, but you need to listen. And you're going to come back later, and you're going to tell me that I was right, because this is what your spirit guides have told me. Your ancestors have told me. So I know that it's right. You know it's right. Information before ever speaking to you, and you know that I knew this. You didn't tell me, so how did I know? Your ancestors told me. But you can ask the same questions to your ancestors and ask them to be clear and concise and to show you whatever it is that you need to know, and they will. And when they do, versus doing what you want to do, because sometimes what we need to do is not what we want to do. Just like information, sometimes what we need to hear is not what we want to hear, so we won't listen to it. But if you're really serious about healing, progressing, you need to listen to what they're telling you, right? Just listen. It's as simple as that. Ask the question and then listen. Learn to trust it. Whatever comes first is what you go with.